about earn, we could talk about stable coins, but let's start with staking.
Yeah, so, Kraken's program that they called staking, in my view, is kind of more like maybe a yield product or something like that. But Coinbase's staking program is not a security, so we feel comfortable defending that in any way that's needed. And we're trying to just work proactively with regulators to help them kind of understand exactly what the product is if they want any information that's available on that. So staking is one that's sort of been looked at recently. I think another one is just around derivatives, right? Actually, like a huge percentage of crypto trading is now derivatives. And we've been working with the CFTC here to sort of get our derivatives platform going. That would be a major thing to be built here in the United States, just in terms of like healthy market structure.
So far you've been unable to launch a derivatives market on Coinbase, even though you've wanted to for a while. Is that the case?
In the US, yeah.
In the US.
Yeah. And I mean, also, by the way, I think there should be a robust, healthy crypto securities market in the US, right? I mean, the SEC and the CFTC have this kind of debate over what is what, and that's great. We need probably Congress to pass new legislation to sort of help clarify that. I mean, it's not great. It's actually been really harmful to the country, but we probably need Congress to come along and pass new legislation on that. But I would love to see if, the minute that we do get clarity about, okay, if somebody's legitimately raising money for their company or to build something like an apartment complex or whatever, they should be able to do that with crypto. They should be able to go register that as a security in the US and then have securities trading platforms and, broker dealers and all these kind of things that help that happen. And so I'd like that to happen as well. That's something that Coinbase has been working on for a while. And hopefully we can eventually get that going in the US. But these are examples. I think the most harmful thing that's happened is just, it's not really, those are all examples of specific things which we need clarity that how they can exist with a clear rule book. But the part that's probably been the most harmful is the negative rhetoric, right? In most industries, what happens is you ask the regulator, what are the rules? And then everybody just follows the rules, right? And if the rules change, give us the new rules. We'll follow those rules. Like, I think in most CEOs in crypto that I talk to, were perfectly willing to do that. Like, just give us the rule book. So since there is no rule book, people have been sort of, doing the best they can in the absence of that clarity. But what's really worst is that we're having this environment of regulation by enforcement, which means not only is there no clear rules and there's no engagement with the industry on rule making, but just once in a while, a random, a bunch of subpoenas or enforcement action will show up somewhere at a company. And what this is causing is essentially an environment of fear. And a lot of crypto entrepreneurs are now saying, okay, well, I guess I need to build my company offshore in another country, because outside the US, because the environment is too dangerous in the US. They basically can't afford the legal bills. And that's pretty dangerous. I mean, I think, and the US is really an outlier here, by the way. If you look at the UK, Singapore, Hong Kong, all the other financial hubs of the world are basically saying, they're like, we're open for business. We think crypto is exciting. We think it's the future. We want the future of this industry to be built here. Rishi Sunak, the PM of the UK, is pretty pro crypto. Hong Kong just passed legislation. Singapore, when I met with all the authorities there, they're like, we want to be a Web3 hub. Europe just passed comprehensive crypto legislation. So and honestly, they're not even thinking that much about FTX in those regions. It's actually surprising. Like this whole thing with FTX is a little bit of like a scar, because he was so active in DC and everyone there is kind of afraid of being associated with it. But outside the US, the rest of the world is saying, we want to move forward with this. And so the US is actually risks kind of falling behind here.
Well, yeah. And so what you're describing is what other people have called a chilling effect. And that seems to definitely be the case, that this uncertainty, this lack of clarity has a chilling effect. Why do you think this is happening in the US specifically? So are regulators just overstepping their powers here? Like, do you have any commentary on the SEC? Gary Gensler has seemed like he's been on a warpath against crypto. And we have, when we talk to folks in the EU, they say, hey, like, we don't have the same sort of securities issues that the US has in these jurisdictional things. What about it in the US is causing this chilling effect?